Welcome to a Culture Course production where we help you attract the top talent and create a company culture where your team can thrive. This week we are talking about the cost of a bad hire. There was an article done by Zenefits where they broke down statistically on average how much it costs a company, how much it might cost you if you make a poor hiring decision. The numbers are staggering. It's actually a bigger number than I even initially thought going into this. And I know how much a bad hire impacts a company, but on a numbers level, they said that the cost of a bad hire is about 20% of that person's salary. On average, about 20% of that person's salary. Holy cow, that is a lot of money. But here's the thing that we know too. If we make a bad hire, not only does that cost us, on average, 20% of their salary, it costs us a lot of time. The amount of time it takes to train someone, the amount of energy and effort that we put forth or we put resources towards to do that, and the time that it's going to take now to try to find somebody to replace them and then rehire, the headache. It's frustrating. We don't necessarily enjoy or like doing those things all the time, especially when it's done in a situation where they leave or we have to fire somebody because we made the poor decision and a poor hire in the first place. It is costly to make a bad hire. This week's episode is brought to you by Culture Course, culturecourse.com, an online course that teaches you how to have a thriving team. Lawrence Jarvie is an owner of Provision Coffee, my favorite coffee shop. Check them out. You can even order some of their artisanal coffee that they roast, and they can send it to your home so you can drink their tasty coffee at home. But he has an amazing team. He has some great people on his staff. He went through Culture Course and is a Culture Course student. And one of the cool things that I like about his team is how they roll with the punches and roll with the changes. They recently changed locations and had a brand new location open in a different city within Arizona, where I'm from, and how his team kind of rallied around that and they transitioned from one place to the next was beautiful to watch. Man, did they take an ownership mentality, and some of the people that he has on his team are extremely talented. Well done, Lawrence and the Provision Coffee team. Culturecourse.com, become a student. Check it out. An online course where you can create and learn to create a thriving team. Okay, so here's the rebuttal that you might be asking. Grant, I've always heard that I'm supposed to hire slow and fire fast. So should I not fire fast then if firing somebody or making a bad hire is extremely costly? Okay, is that statement sometimes true? Sure, maybe, but here's really what it should be replaced with. Instead of hire slow, fire fast, you should really be saying to yourself, hire intentionally. Make sure that you think through all of the things that would make a hire a good hire. Now, let me stop you. There's a chance that you're probably thinking about experience, making sure that you don't have to train them, that they have the abilities and the skills. Although that's valuable, that's not necessarily what constitutes a bad hire. It's very rare that you're hiring somebody that just flat out doesn't have the skills, and that's the reason why it was a bad hire. Most bad hires is because they're not a good culture fit. They're selfish. They're toxic to you and your team. They're not coming in when they say they're going to come in. They're not trustworthy. That's the stuff. So intentionally have a process of how to hire somebody to make sure that you can determine if they are trustworthy, if they are going to be a great culture fit, if they are going to align with the purpose that you have in your business, if they're going to be okay with the type of affirmation that you provide, if they'll appreciate that, and if they'll be able to handle the type of freedom that you give in your job. Are they going to be able to handle and be a part of and absorb and appreciate the culture that you have? That's what's important. It's not nearly as important as their abilities, because we've all had employees that have great abilities but are bad hires. So you have to be intentional about hiring. The whole statement of hire slow, fire fast, it's not enough. It's not enough. There's also another thing that you have to understand. I know that if you're saying, Grant, this cost of somebody being a bad hire, this is the reason why I don't have a team. This is the reason why I'm not hiring. You have apprehension. You've been wounded in the past. Or maybe you're scared because you know the statistic. And you say, Grant, I don't want to hire people. I can't. I'm not going to. Okay, that's fine. If that's going to be you, then your growth of your business, your profit, the impact that your business has is going to be limited. And the time that's taken from you to manage that business is going to go right up to that edge. The reality of having an awesome team is it frees up your time to be able to work on things to help grow the company, but frees up your time so that you can have joy in owning and running a business. And you can have the time to do the things you want to do rather than the time and be forced to do the things you have to do. A team is extremely important in making that happen. All right, so here is the call to action. I'm going to challenge you that in your hiring process that you have, if you don't have one laid out, you need to have one. And if you need help getting one laid out, culturecourse.com. But in your hiring process, you've got to have a lower standard for the expectations, the experience qualifications, and the abilities of the individual. Again, they're important. They've got to be there. You've got to test through those. But that needs to be much lower on the totem pole, especially when compared to culture fit, trustworthiness, selflessness, all of those things. Make sure that on your hiring process this week, you go back through that and you evaluate, am I really focusing too much here on their abilities rather than who they are as a person? We can give people training. We can send people off to third-party places that give them training. We can put people through education processes, and we can give people experience to grow their abilities. But we can't necessarily always make somebody a selfless person. Some people just are selfish. And that is typically the thing that makes a bad hire, because they won't be a good fit in a culture, and they're probably not very trustworthy if they're selfish. So evaluate your hiring process and make sure that you lower the standard for their abilities and increase the standard for who they are as a person. Have a great week.